Yeah, a couple questions.
Sure.
Regarding, of course, Beef Fighter Capital.
Okay.
Tell us about how you got the part as a Beef Fighter Yanma, the process of it. How did you get into it?
Back in the day, I was doing a lot of modeling and like commercial appearances and those kind of things in Japan, just to kind of pay the bills. And I was actually just started my martial arts training at that time. I started doing Aikido and some things. And I got a call from the modeling agency that I was enrolled in, and they said, we've got this part in this TV show, they're looking for an American exchange student, and we'd like you to send the audition right away. Being a fan of tokusatsu stuff already, religiously watched every Sunday morning. I watched the whatever Ranger series, Go Rangers, we started with, but later it became a Ranger series. But I'd watch the Rangers. I'd watch, I think it was Space Rangers, or anyways.
Was it Mega Ranger?
Mega Ranger, that's it. That's right. I'm thinking of, and later it became Space.
In space, yeah.
But yeah, Mega Rangers was going at the time. I was watching that. Anyways, I was a big fan. They called me into the audition. I was like, yes. So I went into the audition, and basically there was guys like me doing the modeling thing in Japan at the audition. And there was a couple of, I guess, half Japanese, half American, or half foreign, I guess Japanese, but fluent English speaking, but yet so Asian looking characters as well, people. They were all characters. And so I was going up against them as well as other gaijin, hakujin, myself. I guess we're all gaijin. And at the audition, I pulled out a henshin pose because I'm such a fan of stuff. When I would do henshin, and I got a call back, and the only reason I got a call back, I'm guessing, was because I did a henshin pose. There was other guys there that their Japanese was perfect. At the time, my Japanese wasn't that good, and all the dialogue and all the acting was in Japanese. I was enrolled in classes, as well as I just started martial arts, but there was much better martial artists and much better actors, I would say. But I still think it's because of my henshin pose. And then I got, at the callbacks, I was the only hakujin, and there was a few others that were kind of half Japanese and half gaijin, and ended up going against them, got the role. I was super stoked, and from then it was just like been living the dream ever since.
As far as I understand that you were the first foreign actor in the tokusatsu show. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I think Ken Kusugi, he was in maybe 2 years before. There was a Ninja Ranger or something like that.
Let's see, Kaku Ranger?
Kaku Ranger, yes. Yeah, got it all mixed up. I think it probably came out here as Ninja. But yes, Ken Kusugi, who was Sho Kusugi's son. Technically, he's kind of a gaijin. I mean, his father, of course, Sho Kusugi, is a Japanese guy, but his mother was from Taiwan, and he was raised in L.A., in Los Angeles. So his kind of the Japanese language wasn't that great at that time. So he was kind of considered, everybody considered him as a gaijin. So I think he was the first gaijin. And then I was probably the first hakujin.
Well, okay, so being the first hakujin actor, how hard it was for you to adjust to the pacing and the language barrier, maybe even of the tokusatsu acting in general?
Yeah, well, tokusatsu acting wasn't that difficult. It was the language was the biggest issue. I naturally act like a tokusatsu character anyway, so that was easy. That show really did it was very challenging, but it was also so beneficial to my Japanese language ability now, which I use in business and everything. So I could kind of get by with some basic conversation up to that point when I landed the job, and then I landed the job, and then my Japanese level just shot through the roof because I had all my scripts in Japanese. I had to translate, everything was in kanji, and I would go through my dictionary and just, write all the, go through all the kanjis, figure them out, figure out what everything meant, basically, because I had to figure out not my lines, but I had to figure out what everybody else was saying so I could make sense of the script and, and act, and try to act, at least.
Kanji is not easy.
Yeah, so my reading skills improved, my conversation skills, because on set I was, I didn't have a translator or a manager to translate anything for me. I was just thrown in there, and I had to do everything on my own. So it was the best way to learn a language. I mean, I don't think, I'm sure there's other ways to learn it, but getting thrown into the mix at the time was very difficult. And I remember just going, oh, like, what am I doing? But now I'm like, I can't be more grateful for the experience.
Is there one memorable experience while filming Beef Fighter Capital?
Yes, my first day on set was probably, everything was fast paced. They're low budgets, so you don't have a lot of money to burn film and burn time. So the pace is very fast. But I remember my first day, I got to say some lines. Say some dialogue in Japanese, and then I got to jump off a trampoline and punch a big red scorpion monster, and it was like, I just went home. I was like, oh my god, I punched a big red scorpion monster. I'm talking in Japanese, and this is all gonna be on TV next week, And I just remember driving home in the location bus that night, and then taking the train home, thinking that, this is how I can make my living. This is amazing. I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. There's nothing else I would enjoy doing more than this. And to this day, how many years later? Geez, it's been like 15 years later. Nothing's changed. I still have the most fun, and I remember that moment a lot when I'm coming home from set that I've just been beating up monsters or running around in spandex, becoming, the technology has changed now. I can be an obby and I'm riding a big styrofoam bird or something like that. But it's still, I come home, I'm like, man, I am so grateful. Ever since that day, just for that experience at such a young age, just opening my eyes to what I want to do and what I feel like that's my goal. And it's very difficult to do what you love. And I had the opportunity to do that when I was young. I had the opportunity to realize what I want to do for the rest of my life at such a young age. So if I wasn't doing that, my goal was to, whatever I was doing, to work towards that kind of stuff. And that's still true today. So, I mean, to be a working actor and to be able to pay your bills, it's not easy. And it's been easy for 15 years. I've been, up and down. We all actors go up and down unless you become an A-list actor, and you have to do other things to kind of supplement yourself and your income, and but you always want to get back to that experience. I was very grateful for that first experience.
You noted, you said that you're a huge Tokusatsu fan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's your favorite Kamen Rider?
Well,
we can go either way, Showa and Heisei.
Okay. And the new ones. Well, let's go back in the day. I love. Yeah. Well, actually, I don't even know if this was Showa. Was Kamen Rider Black?
It's Showa.
It's technically Showa.
Yeah.
Okay. Then.
It started as a Showa, and then halfway turned to Heisei.
Okay. All right.
That was during the Black RX era.
Yeah. So that would be my Showa favorite, and then for Heisei, I would say Kamen Rider 5s.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of 5s.
Nice. Yeah. Let's see. I think I'm actually out of question now.
Question then? I know aside that you probably had a good time with working with Dan Southward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's.
Work with him all the time.
Cool.
I'm working with him next week.
Yeah. Was there any difficulty certain action scenes during Devil May Cry 3?